Good day, beautiful ones. It is Tuesday, May 13th, 2025, and it is time to vibe with your tribe as we have just stepped in to the waning moon cycle as we still sit in the shadows of the very powerful full moon in Scorpio. So, have you had a lot on your mind over the weekend? That full moon certainly had a lot to do with it. Perhaps you even had a lot of stuff break down on you. Or you know others who have had issues with things breaking down. A lot of that has to do with these intense energies, and now you probably have this feeling that many of us also have, that something really big is brewing. But what is it exactly? Things are still brewing between India and Pakistan, as the ceasefire between both those nations lasted maybe a whole about an hour, not even an hour. I think maybe even 20 minutes ceasefire before the two nations ended up battling again and things began to flare up once more. Of course, a lot of back and forth blaming one another. Will there ever be a ceasefire in the near future when it comes to all three major conflicts that are happening right now, taking place across the globe? We're going to talk about that today along with the new Pope. Pope Leo XIV has been chosen. The first American Pope ever in history. What symbolism could lie beneath that and behind this new Pope? And could he be the one that brings down the walls of the Vatican truth? Is something brewing behind the walls of the Vatican? And now we have so many more blinking lights, strange lights, extremely strange sky activity, blue-colored rain in Texas and California, continued cover-ups of our ancient history. Are we ever going to find out the truth of our ancient history? Well, of course. I have some truth for you about that today. New predictions around water parks, Disney wildfires, and much more on this episode number 166. So let's feed that prediction addiction, friends, because it's Tittle Tea time, baby. Welcome aboard, beautiful tribe. I hope you're having a great day today. After an intense few days of energies that are behind us now, and somewhat emotional for many folks, radiating from this full moon in Scorpio that just rung in on yesterday, May 12th, Monday, well, depending on where in the world you may reside. This waning moon cycle in which we just stepped into, well, friends, especially if you're a Scorpio, it is bound to bring about and reveal many truths in this next 14 waning moon cycle, whether they're inner truths with yourself or your own hidden truths, truths within relationships, and truths around the corruption and evil that's been hidden in our plain sight for so long. It's been coming out slowly but surely, but baby, it's about to flow out like a pipe broken, a big broken pipe, gushing out truth. This is when we're going to see people's emotions really begin to run wild. You probably just saw it over the past few days. Maybe you experienced seeing it yourself, which is likely, as I said last week, going to bring an increase in angry people, especially on the road or even out on the waters. And as, again, I stated last week, Spirit says to keep your eyes on the waters, keep your eyes on the oceans. Therefore, I would expect maybe some really strange ocean activity to happen in the coming weeks as well. And perhaps we'll hear some type of, maybe a tsunami, or even more commonly, we'll hear more of rogue waves taking place, or rogue wave events happening at sea. And sadly, we all know that how some folks like to react when it comes to these emotional overloads of energy, which this full moon in Scorpio is definitely serving up, without a doubt. So therefore, there's probably going to be a huge rise when it comes to other angry powered events, if you know what I mean, even protests. Maybe protests turning into riot type situations. Now, this full moon is going to be light. It is the most intense full moon of 2025. But wait until we get to July. I can't stress that enough. I've been telling you that since December of last year, actually. July is going to be a doozy. And so, if these energies are going to be any evidence of what's to come, we just got to pay attention to the incoming next few weeks. Now, also, there could even be some type of a pow type of an event taking place at a concert or an outdoor event in these energies. And I say that because I've had visions and seen that in past predictions. And often we can pinpoint time periods based on the energies. Being these energies are bringing out that emotion and such in certain people and all people in some way or another, people can react and it could bring about those past predictions. So let's be mindful whenever you're out and about, just be mindful and hold in the light that it doesn't happen. But likely things are going to happen. And in coming days and in the coming week, you may find yourself kind of confronting the past. Whether it's your past relationships, your past traumas. Remember, the full moon's all about letting go and getting rid of things. So when these past traumas or past things come up, there's a reason for it. You may find yourself reassessing your relationships. I've seen that with many clients over the past week. I could tell, not that they told me, but I could just tell that there's a whole reassessment, not just of their relationships, but of their lives in general. Or making some type of big, significant decisions. That could be going on right now. It's a very potent time. It's a very potent time to work on your relationships and work on yourself, whether it be through therapy. Do some writing, do some journaling, write your dreams. Start a dream book if you don't have one already. Or just write a journal. Or even if you're having negative emotions towards a certain person, maybe sit down and write a whole full letter to them. Don't necessarily send them or give them the letter. But sit and write it all out. When you write it all out, it's a huge release. Hold on to it for a week, and then you'll decide whether you want to give it to them or not. 95% of the time, you never end up wanting to give it to them. It's the healing process that we are going through when we write these things down. So it's also a really powerful time to let go of anything that may be holding you back. Whether it's a habit, a pattern, again, a relationship, an addiction, and the list goes on and on. Full moons are always about that, but especially this powerful full moon that we are experiencing now, the energy that we're still sitting in the shadows of. We're only just I'm recording this on Monday night, so the full moon came in just before 10 a.m. this morning, Arizona time, which would have been just before 1 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. And by the time you're watching this, we're only about 36 hours into the full moon energy, which means we're still in it. We're in it really strongly. Not only that, yesterday, we also had Mercury in Taurus, which formed this very challenging square with Pluto in Aquarius, all on the same day. So this is definitely going to suggest that there's going to be some pretty strong, potentially strong power struggles. We see power struggles happening between countries right now, but we're going to see power struggles within governments and within maybe, again, your own life in some way or another. And communications are going to become really intense. And this whole alignment is all about unraveling of secrets, bringing out the truth. That should be interesting with the whole Sean Diddy Combs case going on, right? And this may also lead to some confrontations. So try not to be confrontational. And then we'll also see a lot of revelations that actually are going to end up challenging your beliefs and challenging your structures. That's all part of the big awakening, friends. The bigger awakening. And I expected an uptick in both earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, although it seems to have been a little bit quiet at the moment, which is unusual. Likely the quiet before the big storm that's yet to come. Big storms, make that plural, before they hit. And I felt that a large quake was going to hit on May 11th. And indeed, there was a 5.6 quake. That isn't massive, but it was in the red. And it's the only quake that's registered in the red over the past week. And that shook a part of China, an area where I've mentioned many times that China was going to be hit. And they were on May 11th. That gave them quite a shaker. But that's the only significant, really big quake that happened in the past week. And that was on the 11th. Now, there was some talk here in the United States about some quakes that happened outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is unusual. Only unusual because I believe it was a 4.1. And, they have little ones like 1.2 or 1.5, but 4.1 is pretty huge, especially because they felt it all the way out to Atlanta, Georgia, according to some folks. Remember what I told you about the New Madrid fault acting back up? Even though the New Madrid fault's over a little bit further along the Mississippi, but it's still all connected. It's all connected. So we see that activity rising up. It's going to just keep rising up, especially between now and the next few years. And I still have this strong feeling that something really big is brewing. Don't you? Let me know in the comments if you do. Something big is brewing. And part of something big that's brewing is brewing right beneath our feet as Mother Earth begins to get really restless. And she's about to react, very ruthlessly. So another thing that I feel I should mention here, being as I see it happening all over with people, is starting with the flood and plumbing issues that I had of my own over the weekend. Boy, what a disaster that was. And still not completely repaired. I have two friends, a friend and niece whose washers broke. So two people there. Another friend whose car broke down. And I hear so many other people having issues with water-related things, whether it's their pipes, their sewage, the washer, dishwasher, it's all water-related. See, everybody having issues. And you know what, friends? We're not even in the Mercury retrograde right now. Not even. So if things are breaking down now, and I want to know if you had some breakdowns down in the comments below. I'm sure many of you have, especially if it involved water in some way or another. But if they're breaking down now, look out for that Mercury retrograde energy shift that's going to be hitting us like a tsunami wave come July 1st, right in the beginning of July. I also hear many people in the comments talking about getting sick or having some type of food poisoning, which I did a few weeks ago, which could also be linked to the norovirus. What I got was really horrific food poisoning experience a few weeks ago, and it makes us, and what I've got out of this whole experience that I had, which wasn't fun, was that it's all about, again, part of the awakening. It's making us become more aware of our food, where we're purchasing our food from, how we prepare our food, and so forth. Again, it's a part of this big awakening that's here to awaken us to the different levels, and different levels include what we're putting in our bodies, and the toxicity that we have been exposed to for way too long. And unfortunately, we often need to go through some challenging obstacles or a big challenging obstacle in order to find clarity at the end of the course. And this is a long course, friends. It's a long course, and it's a long roller coaster ride. Hang on tight. I hope you like roller coasters. Beautiful tribe. Let me take a moment here to welcome you to the channel and welcome you back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Joseph Tittel, spiritual medium, aka Spiritman JT. And I welcome you with big old open air hugs. And if you're new here, you want to vibe with our tribe and you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, be sure to smash that subscribe, the bell, and all so you get notifications. And know that Tuesday's Teatime show is all about the energies that are coming in, all about the events that have taken place over the past week that could be significant to past predictions and prophecy, with new predictions each and every week. And a big thank you to all the supporters of this channel, whether the members of the Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community, which the link is down below in the descriptions, and the members of the other communities like YouTube. Thank you with infinite love and gratitude for making this free content possible for everybody else. Down below, you'll also find the link to all my social media, including the newsletter. Sign up for that. It's free. Goes out at the beginning of the month. Lets you know what's going on and what's happening, and it's free. Why not? When you do sign up, make sure that you confirm your email, because once you sign up, and the best way to sign up is to open the newsletter below in the link. Go to the top corner and sign up that way. Now, if you want more information about myself, just go directly to my website, josephtittel.com or spiritmanjt.com. And if you get a message on social media platforms, especially Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, but that appears to be me, I assure you, it's not me. So please do report those profiles immediately, and thank you so much for doing so. Let us move on to episode number 166 of Teatime, baby. So much conflict happening across the globe. We have conflicts between Pakistan and India, which keep continuing, even after the ceasefire agreement was made, but that didn't last even an hour, friends, before Pakistan allegedly continued to fire at India. Maybe it was the other way around. Will we ever know the truth? Probably not. It is claimed that India is becoming completely fed up. after they had this fear attack that took place on a hotel that claimed the lives of 26 tourists. Some of you may recall actually one of my past predictions, and some of you did because you mentioned it in the comments, where I said that I stated that there would be some type of a fear attack that would happen on a hotel with tourists. I forgot all about that prediction, so thank you to those who reminded me in the comments below. Can't keep track, but some of you can, so thank you for that. So it seems to be way too much of a history of terror when we were talking about the Kashmir area of the globe. And sadly, I feel Pakistan, or actually more so radicals who hide behind the walls of Pakistan, not necessarily Pakistan itself, are going to continue to cause horrors amongst the innocent, especially in the Kashmir region. And it is said that India only hit military targets, in these blasts that were happening over the past weekend, and no civilian areas. I don't know how true that is, but that's what they're saying. And sometimes I don't see Pakistan news, and I probably wouldn't be able to understand them, but there is an India news. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's on YouTube. They do speak in English. It's interesting to watch different perspectives, different countries' news outlets. It's just kind of fascinating to me. And again, they claim that they only hit, military targets, which is probably likely true. And, that's the way conflict really should go. Keep the innocent out of it. Keep the innocent out of your disagreements. And if only Israel could follow that rule too, and the rest of the world follow that rule. Keep the innocent civilians out of it. Keep it between your militaries. And really, you should just keep peace. Give peace a chance, friends. And my feelings with this conflict is that it's just several more ceasefires going rogue. And I sadly feel that there's going to be another large fear attack that's going to happen in India. And I also have concerns for the water when it comes to parts of India. And I feel like it may somehow be tainted or even cut off, or both. Cut off somehow from certain areas or civilians or towns. And for the heck of it, I decided I'd pull a few cards. And the first card I pulled to represent what's happening between these two countries, Pakistan and India, the first card that came out was the Nine of Swords reversed, friends. Which instantly shows us, the propaganda and the continued slanderous gossip between them. I mean, I didn't need a card to tell me that, but the card did tell me that. And a bunch of shady characters interweaved into this web, this big old web that's happening. The spiders fighting amongst themselves. Now, the moon reversed was another one that will show us continued deception and one taking advantage of the other, or perhaps both taking advantage of each other. And I always look at the moon as also being a symbol connected to the sign Cancer. And even Scorpio and Pisces, but definitely Cancer, because Cancer is ruled by the moon. So being Cancer season's approaching in the very near future, and this places us into this next, that window of Cancer puts us into that next intense energy shift and Mercury retrograde. I'm going to say that moon reverse was also representing that period of time, Cancer, which is between June 21st and July 22nd. So I would say that there's going to be some type of deception and lies that's going to play out, and some type of continued conflict between those dates of June 21st and July 22nd. Now, the King of Cups, reversed, describes a man. It describes a man who's very shady. A shady man who's double dealing and doing things behind other people's backs, meaning that he's very dishonest and tied into some type of a huge scandal. A scandal that we're not aware of yet, but a scandal that I feel is about to unfold. Now, I feel that this must be connected, and I could be wrong, but I feel like it must be connected to the leader or one of the leaders of Pakistan. Going back on his word. That's how I would take it. Double dealing with China and Russia at the same time. This is just an example. I'm not saying that's what's happening. And other kind of scandalous actions. That very much sounds like Pakistan to me. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. The final card that I picked was the Seven of Wands, which shows us that there's so much anxiety, of course. The Seven of Wands, all about the anxiety on both sides of the fence, both for India and Pakistan, which I could imagine that would be a little bit anxiety-ridden. I also take the 7 as a representative, again, of the month of July. So it warns that being hesitant, especially in July, is going to cause a huge loss. And I feel that this is on India's behalf. If they hesitate in some situation that's coming between now and the end of July, especially in July, it's going to end up bringing them a major loss, a huge loss, likely a huge loss of life for India. So let's hope that's not the case. And I feel that there's a superpower struggle that's actually happening within both countries, but mostly within Pakistan. And I feel this anger, this really strong anger within their government, the Pakistan government, and amongst each other within that government. So I don't know what's going on over there. I just feel a lot of tensions and a lot of anger amongst them when they should be getting along, right? And I feel some type of conflict occurring in Pakistan, separately from India. Some type of conflict, but it's not coming from India. It's actually feels like, to me, like it's an attack from within. And I also feel, however, whoever is currently in power is not going to be in power much longer, and that he may actually perish in some type of an attack. Pakistan, that is. Likely from within, because I feel like there's an attack coming from within. So we can only keep our eyes peeled on this one and this conflict. While on the other hand, and on the other front, we have Russia and the UKR, in which both leaders are supposed to be meeting later this week in Turkey. And I find it really interesting when I looked it up that both of the leaders, Putin and Zelensky, are in their 8 personal years in numerology. Now, the 8 strongly represents the economy, money, infinite possibilities, because it's the infinity symbol. And I mean, really, it is a fight for their economy right now, right? So only one of them is going to end up coming out a winner, but they're both in their 8. And the 8, you can either go way up, financially, or you can go way down. It's one or the other. There's no floating in between. So in this case, one's going to win and one's not going to when it comes to the economy and the financial aspect. And likely it's going to end up being Russia. And possibilities that I don't believe Ukraine is going to accept, these infinite possibilities that the 8 vibration offers Zelensky and Putin both individually in numerology. And I just don't feel like Zelensky is going to accept those infinite possibilities. Both currently, in the month of May, they're both in their 4 vibrations. The 4 vibration can also have an effect on the health of either one of those leaders, Ukraine or Russia. The 4 vibration is all about building stability, and it can be also very constructive at the same time, help us to build things and become more constructive. We start to look at all the little details of all the things around us and what we need to change and what we need to do differently. And they're both in that vibration. They're both in the same vibrations. I find that very interesting. So if one's being stubborn, they're both being stubborn. I mean, they're both flowing in the same. Now, Zelensky's in Aquarius. So always looking and seeking balance in situations. But he's a little crazy too. So they're both a little crazy, both of them. Whereas Putin is a Libra. So good at telling everybody else what to do, but God forbid you tell him what to do. But they're also all about, being in service to others. And being a leader would make sense to being in service to others. Going back to that 4 vibration, again, both these leaders can utilize these vibrations to bring peace if they want to. It could actually happen. But I just, sadly, still don't feel like this is happening yet. At least not yet. Eventually, just not yet. When we move into October, that would be when both leaders are in their 9 vibrations for the month, which they will also both be in throughout 2026. The 9's all about endings, death of cycles, and so forth. So this would be a time where we could finally see the conflict, no doubtedly, come to an end. And it could come to end by October. And if not by October, then definitely by by early 2026. Now, and that's not going to be before Russia ends up claiming a whole bunch of new territory. And I predicted this way back when the conflict first started. I even did card reading on it. If you go back and look, I kept saying he's going to claim more land, and he did. And then he lost it, but then he got it back, and he's going to end up keeping it. And I just so happened to pick a few cards for this mess as well, just for the heck of it. And the first card that I picked was literally the death card reversed. When I was picking cards between Russia and Ukraine and how that was going to work out with this peace talk thing coming up in the near future this week. So the death card reversed, which instantly shows its continued stagnation, friends. Continually being stagnant with the talks. Very, very slow, very, very partial changes, and even a strong potential that one of those leaders could soon be out of the picture completely. Whether they're taken out or whether, who knows, but it's a very strong possibility. And being they both enter their 9-year again in 2026, I have no doubt that neither Vladimir, because they're both Vlads, right? Neither one of them are going to be into power by the time we reach 2027, which is right around the corner. And I feel like it's going to be, of course, Lewinsky first, and then Putin's going to hang in a little bit longer before he's out of the picture. Now, the other card I picked was the Six of Wands reversed, which again confirms indefinite delays. It represents disloyalty amongst both parties, so they're both going to be disloyal, and continued drama in the month of June. So, there might be a little bit of peace in May, but coming into June, I feel like, any ceasefire is only going to be temporary, unfortunately, for now. Now, the reversed Hanged Man. The Hanged Man reversed highlights both their egos and their egotisticalness. Probably narcissistic tendencies there for both of them, too, I wouldn't doubt. But the Hanged Man reverse shows that their egos are making them very unwilling to want to bring peace. They makes them very unwilling to put the necessary effort into the necessary areas of their lives, especially into this conflict. Now, the Knight of Swords reversed. Now, that represents a man, of course, and likely it's the younger of the two, which would be Zelensky, who can, that's how I took the knight. I would take Putin as being more of a king than a knight. I would take Zelensky more of a knight. And so the Knight reversed, the Knight of Swords reverse, represents a man who is likely going to continue to make the same impulsive decisions and same impulsive mistakes, one after another, that continue to bring this dispute to the surface. So now, it's not really looking too good for them, friends. And if it does not end again by October, which I feel like it really potentially will end by even before October, but if it does not, then definitely early in 2026. And I also feel, again, by end of 2026, both leaders will be out of the picture too. I mean, pretty much most of the leaders that we see in charge now across the globe, we will not see by the time we step into 2027. Or by mid-2027, we'll say. Most of them will be gone, including the President of the United States. It'll be different by then, I assure you. Not what I want to say. It's what the spirits say, friends. It's what the spirits say. So hopefully there could be a ceasefire. But anyway, the last of these conflicts, of course, is Israel and their strong desire, whether people want to admit it or not, to invade Iran. And I found it really interesting that the new Pope, Leo XIV, spoke out right away about the people in Gaza suffering and purposely being starved out and not allowing aid to come in to help them into that areas. So go Pope Leo. Leo, right? Yeah, Pope Leo. I was going to say Leon. So another ceasefire agreement that, of course, never was fulfilled. Continued to fire upon innocent people in innocent civilian areas. Very sad indeed, very sad indeed. And sure, there's going to be temporary peace there as well, or a ceasefire. But this conflict will continue, especially, if out of all three conflicts, the one in Israel is going to be the one that's just going to keep pushing on until that leader of power changes as well. That'll happen too. But I see that ceasefires with this conflict are just going to be temporary. And Spirit shows me a vision today, clearly, of a flag flying, big white flag with big black words on it that said false, big capital letters. So we all know what that means, right? We all know what that means. And when I saw the flag, I took a double vision check in my brain, and I saw the flag flying next to an Israel flag. So you can take that any way you want. But what it would make me believe is that they are the ones that are flying the other flag, the first flag that I saw, the white flag with the word false written upon it. And being it's next to their flag, I would think that they would be the ones flying it because they're flying together. So it just makes complete sense to me. That's how I took it. And likely an attempt, maybe perhaps, to continue to try to drag United States into agreeing on attacking Iran, which, I feel President Trump is thankfully very resistant to this and becoming somewhat disappointed in, Netanyahu. And I see some type of illness or some type of health issue that's going to arise for Netanyahu in the very near future as well. And I feel that his time is also very, very limited. And I don't mean necessarily his time on the planet. That could very well be. But his time in general as a leader. Because that's just what I'm getting. Now, separately, on a new front, hopefully not, but what I saw was issues breaking out between North Korea and South Korea. And this felt to me like Kim Jong-un was getting really lonely, a little bit bored, and something from within North Korea suddenly just angers him. It just felt like, he's all chilled, eating his steak and doing his little thing. And then just something angers him. And it really doesn't have to do with South Korea, I don't feel. But he's going to bring out his inner bully to pick on them for whatever reason. And this could occur more likely closer to October and November. So keep an eye on North Korea between now and especially when we get to October and November. And November is that final major energy shift of 2025. I still say July is going to be the most intense one of all, but they're always intense. So another month to look forward to after July would be November. And November is all about spiritual ascension. So that should be really, really a wild month for the good, of course. Now, for the first time in history, a new pope has been elected. And this time, for the first time in history, he is from America. Chicago, Illinois, to be exact, or outside of Chicago. For the first time in history, they say, the American Pope. Isn't it interesting? I think it's interesting that there was this AI-generated image of Trump as the Pope that went viral. And soon after, an American Pope rises to power. Interesting. Do you think maybe AI, or whoever had the idea to type that into AI, maybe already somehow knew that there was going to be an American Pope that would reign in the near future? Just a thought, friends. Just a little speculation. Maybe they have a crystal ball. And that was their, excuse me, my throat tonight. Their roundabout way of telling us that they knew, Just a thought again. Just a thought. Especially AI. Maybe AI did know. Weird. I just thought it was strange. And I truly thought that they would name him Pope Peter. So I was wrong on that one. I really did think that. And that was mainly based on the prophecies and the prophecy of Malachi, who spoke of the final pope and said that the final pope would be, he referred to as Peter from Rome, which one of the cardinals actually fits that perfectly. His name's Peter and he's from Rome, and he was the runner-up. He was the one that people thought was going to get elected. I can't remember his name other than Peter, but he didn't get it. He wasn't chosen. It was said that he chose Pope Leo the 14th after Leo the 13th, the new pope, I mean. It said that he chose that name due to Pope Leo the 13th, who was dedicated to helping others, which is very nice. That's nice. I really personally don't think he chooses his own name. I think they chose it beforehand. That's just my opinion. And it's just an opinion, not a feeling, just an opinion. So Leo, of course, the name Leo, well, of course, is associated with the sign, of course, the zodiac sign Leo. But of course, Leo is associated with the lion and also fire. Now, in the Bible, Peter chapter 5, verse 8, it says that the devil is described as the following: a roaring lion prowling around seeking someone to devour. That's what it says, Peter. Again, chapter 5, verse 8, describing the devil as a roaring lion. I just thought that was interesting. So will Pope Leo the 14th devour the evil that resides within the Vatican walls? Because we know there's some in there, probably a whole bunch. Could it take, a strong American Pope to be the one to step forward as the new disclosure Pope? We can call him the Disclosure Pope. I have no doubt major disclosures are coming. I mean, we've been predicting it for a while. You see my visions of the big dark demon busting out of the walls of the Vatican. We still don't know what that means, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough in the next few years at the latest. So is he going to bring about these disclosures? I have no doubt. It may not be him, but he's definitely part of these disclosures that are going to be coming out from behind the Vatican walls, but also from deep within the Vatican archives as well. I see things coming out of the Vatican archives. Now, I'm pretty sure it's in the channeled predictions that I just did that hasn't premiered yet. It'll premiere, and I'll show you a little clip of that before the end of today's show. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily going to be, again, the Pope himself that releases these major disturbing truths revolved around the church and even outside the church. It could be someone within, maybe one of the other cardinals that's mad that he didn't get the papacy. Maybe it's him. But releasing some type of major disturbing truths. It could be someone within seeking revenge in a political way, in their little political circle, because I'm sure the politics there are just as bad as the politics in every country. Somebody within that who don't really truly follow the teachings of Christ, obviously, if they're doing all this nastiness. And I feel this Pope is actually going to bring so much unexpected shocks to the church and to the world, which can be a good thing. I'll have to try to hope it looks that way. He's also going to be the Pope who becomes part of the huge disclosure plans that are being posed by the globalist elite by opening up to alien life, UFOs, and so much more. I mean, otherwise, if you don't do that, the church will be done. Because remember, the church was always based on we're the only ones in the universe, just us. I don't know how you can look up and even think such a thing. That to me is some ego and narcissistic ego speaking right there. So he's going to have to speak up about that. I can't wait to see. But here's where it's going to get really interesting. Exorcisms. According to Spirit, exorcisms are going to rise. The amount of exorcisms that the church and the Vatican perform is going to rise. And I see a new group being formed within the Vatican, likely secret group, that's going to be passing the teachings of exorcisms on to others. And I see many truths and even eventually a documentary that's going to be released around the Vatican and exorcisms, approved by the Vatican, according to the spirits. So that'll be interesting. That'll be really interesting. Now, how many are claiming that this Pope, many people are, again, it's just claims, that he's a part of this huge cover-up that happened in Peru, where he allowed, one of the creepy clergy members in Peru to continue being creepy, if you know what I mean. I'm sure you know what I mean. Big cover-ups. I mean, we saw that with even Pope Benedict doing that. Apparently, he did this as a cardinal over there in Peru, according to the people in Peru stepping forward and speaking out. Now, we all have to keep in mind that within the politics of the Vatican, no matter what, there's one main rule with the cardinals and all of them. One main rule and one rule only. Protect the church. Protect the church, protect the secrets. Even by hiding the truths and covering them up with lies if they have to. But that's their oath, to protect the church, to protect the whole structure. And I actually feel that the Pope has much better vibes than Francis did. No doubt he's got better vibes than Francis. And Francis, he always had bad vibes to me. Did not like his vibes, ever. But this guy has actually better vibes, for sure. But at the same time, when Francis first went in, his vibes weren't that bad. They seemed okay. It seemed like after about a year or two, that's when they seemed to shift and change. And I can imagine there's a lot of pressure on them. I couldn't even imagine. I wouldn't want that job. Even if I was religious like that, I wouldn't want that job. But, Francis, the vibes are different. Let me know what you think about the vibes down below. I'm sure many of you will anyway. So we're going to have to keep our eyes very close on this web and see where that goes. And in accordance, actually, to the astrological alignments that are happening, and even the 9 vibration of 2025, this all indicates massive spiritual awakenings. We've been talking about it since the beginning of the year. Massive spiritual awakening, even for the month of May. In the May forecast, I just talked about it with the other alignment that happened yesterday. Massive spiritual awakenings. So let's hope that this new Pope comes along and awakens the world to the true teachings of Christ. That'd be nice. Moving on to another hot topic this week, and that would be that of the arrests that are taking place. Arrests and rescues, actually. Because over the past week, another very high-profile arrest took place. This time, it was the mayor of Newark, New Jersey. Have you ever driven through Newark? Oh, I could tell you a story about that, but we ain't got time for that story today. And I expect so many more arrests that are yet to come. As I predicted years ago that we would see this happen, and we're seeing it not on the big scale that I've had visions of, but that big scale is coming, friends. And as we start the whole arrest of, the mayor of Newark, all at the same time where we see the beginning starts of the Sean Combs trial taking place. And so much truth, friends, that is yet to be dropped just from that Diddy case alone. It's going to get real. I wish it was televised. I really would love to hear what's going on in that courtroom. So remember a while back, I spoke about video footage that was being held and, revolved around the Epstein thing. Remember Spirit talked about video footage? This came to my mind today. And therefore, this would make me feel that hopefully, in the near future, some of this footage from the whole Epstein and friends is going to be leaked out on the World Wide Web, the WWW, friends. And do not be surprised, of course, at all, you shouldn't be, when mass media totally ignores it, while others are going to try to claim that it's fake footage or AI fakes, and it won't be, and we'll know. But they'll try. Now, no doubt that more truths are going to be revealed around the Combs case, and other well-known celebrities that are also going to be dragged into it. Maybe Ellen DeGeneres, that'd be interesting. But there are going to be others dragged into the courtroom to testify according to the spirits, and, let's hope so, more so that this even opens up new cases around, Diddy and Friends. We'll call it Diddy and Friends. It's like a television drama series. So remember, many folks, like Mr. Hanks or Ellen DeGeneres especially, fled the country shortly after Combs was arrested. Now, of course, they claimed it was because of the new president, but no, they boogied out of town right after that whole Combs arrest thing happened. And, Ellen's over there in the UK, you poor folks in the UK, out there mowing her lawn. That's not going to last long. I'm waiting for them to drag her back here. I feel like they're going to drag her back here. And, we know it's all about the P. Diddy drama. That's why they moved out of the country. It had nothing to do with the new president. Nothing to do with that. That was just their excuse. Just their excuse so they could hurry up and flee. And that's what Spirit told me, actually. That came from Spirit. And I see and feel that some type of high-profile arrests are yet to come. And I see these high-profile arrests that are going to take place in New York City, Florida, likely around the Miami area of Florida. I see arrests taking place in California. These are high-profile. So this would be, whether they're whatever high-profile means to you in your mind. And then I also see high-profile arrests happening in Australia, Japan, around the political circle in Japan, and even the United Kingdom. So who could it be? Who could it be, friends? Who could it be now? Anyway, I pulled a few cards. Of course I did. I was just pulling cards today. poops and giggles. And I pulled some for Charlene Combs. And I was not surprised at all by the cards that I picked, and you shouldn't either. As I said in the past, they're going to pretty much hang him anyway. Only a strange, very strange stroke of luck would have him, have them calling a mistrial or something. But Sean is not going to get out of this mess one way or another. The first card that I picked for him today was the Ten of Swords. He was all swords, crazy enough. The Ten of Swords is showing, of course, the grief that he's in, the misfortune, the disappointments, the sorrows. It just basically showed where everything is now, and I'm sure it is for him. While the King of Swords, reversed, described him like a T, in my opinion. A cruel, selfish individual that causes sadness upon others. Sounds very much like he fits that description. And then, of course, there was the Devil card. The Devil card, which pretty much speaks for itself, friends. Need I say more? And then I also picked three swords out of the 4 cards that I picked in the Devil. And all not good for him at all. All bet not good for him. And the final one out of the 4 was the Six of Swords, which indicates the confusions around the case. It also reflects on his rejection of a plea deal, which he rejected, and they might even offer him another one, and he'll be less than smart enough to reject it again. And the regrets, too, because that card, the Six of Swords, shows his regrets in the decisions that he made. Probably the regret that he didn't take the plea deal after he ends up getting hung because he thinks he's going to get away with this. And even if he did get away, he's still not getting away with it according to the spirits. So the Six of Swords can also indicate travel or going away. Yeah, he's going away, all right. I'll take it that he's certainly going away. Far, far away, and they're going to throw the keys away. Moving on to arrests. Now, you may recall my past predictions around seeing visions of hundreds of little ones being rescued and hundreds of others being arrested for, getting little ones caught up in those traffic jams. So on May 7th, the White House announced that 200 plus alleged predators were arrested in a huge FBI sting, as you see right here in this article. Crazy as it is, let me open it up for myself. Authorities arrested more than 200 suspected, and you can read the words for yourself without me saying it, in this 5-day multi-agency operation centered on online contact with minors last week, federal officials announced on Wednesday. These deprived human beings, if convicted, will face a maximum penalty in prison, some life, according to the Attorney General Pam Bondi. I don't know if I like her. I said I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. She's a hard one to read, but sometimes easy to read. She's a complicated one. But you see the story here of this massive bust that happened of 200. I wouldn't say it's massive, but big enough that means something, friends. That definitely means something. I think that's important. So if we look deeper into this, there have been many other arrests, because when I went and Googled arrests, there were a bunch. Most of them were on smaller scales, but it was all still a part of this FBI thing that's happening. That's a good thing. And I made predictions around seeing hundreds, even thousands of little ones and even adults being rescued. So we can only hope that the 300,000 children that have gone missing in the United States coming across the borders, we can only hope that they would be included in this roundup. That would be nice, because nobody knows where they went. And I had visions of much larger rescues. I see rescues of little ones and even adults coming out of some type of tunnel system. I saw military assistance with this, as if the military are going in and getting them. I don't know what military. It felt like I was out of country, actually. And then I also see somewhere in South America, I feel like that's somewhere in South America where they're pulling these little ones out of tunnels and such. I also see some type of a big rescue taking place in Mexico as well. So let us all together, friends, hold in the light that record-breaking amounts of those caught up in those traffic jams are finally brought to their families and to their loved ones. That would be nice. While also holding in the light that those at the top who orchestrate these horrors are also rounded up and brought to justice. Hallelujah. Lock 'em up, baby. Lock 'em up. Strange brew, there's something inside of you, baby. Yeah, strange things happening all over the earth, friends. Strange things happening. More strange blinking lights. You know, if you watch it, Mr. MB333, he goes all through the blinking light thing. So, you know, people ask me to show footage, just go to his page and watch his. He's very thorough. He even has it all mapped out on the map. Check him out. But we also have this extremely strange sky activity that's happening and continued cover-ups of our ancient history. I'd say it's about darn time we start unraveling the truth, don't you? Which is exactly what's happening. It's exactly what's happening. We recently discovered that something huge is beneath the Giza pyramids, right? Something I spoke about years ago. I said there was whole cities and tunnels under there. Everybody said I was crazy. And then they revealed all that stuff earlier this year, a couple months ago. Now we are discovering the truths that are being hidden from us for so long, and soon we're going to discover what is clearly hidden deep within the oceans. While future underwater archaeology is going to begin to take form. I don't even know if that exists, but that's what Spirit showed me today. Underwater archaeology. It's going to take form with these new technologies that are going to allow them to go in and do like archaeological stuff in the ocean. So that should be really interesting. As much as many governments, according to Spirit, of course, many governments want to continue to hide things beneath the water. Are you at all aware? You may not be. Of all that which was purposely hidden from us by, the creation of these man-made lakes and man-made dams that flooded areas and flooded truth from humanity? Yeah, did you know about that? Well, check out this piece right here and let me know what you think in the comments down below. The Smithsonian has collected thousands of giant skeletons and tucked them away from the public. The Egyptian government is notorious for defending their official story of the Giza pyramids, and the Chinese government has been burying several ancient pyramids beneath trees. Hiding our mysterious past and anything that challenges the official narrative and the historic narrative has been going on for well over a century. My lunch break on YouTube has been showing how the construction of several dams have knowingly submerged numerous ancient ruins in archaeological sites around the world. The Isu Dam in Turkey submerged the ancient city of Hasan Kef, which dates back 12,000 years and was a cultural crossroads of Mesopotamian and Ottoman civilizations. The submersion also displaced 80,000 people when it buried their homes beneath the water. The Barasik Dam in Turkey submerged Zugma, a major Roman Hellenistic trading center, including several unexcavated areas. The Kaban Dam in Turkey submerged Norsuntepe, a 40-level Bronze Age settlement that was continuously occupied from 5,000 to 7,000 BCE. It was barely explored before being completely submerged in water. In Egypt, the Aswan Dam submerged over 1,000 sites. The Temple of Isis, the city of Annaba, and several other ancient mountains that are now beneath over 2,000 square miles of water in Lake Nassar, one of the largest man-made lakes in the world. The face of the Abu Simbel temple was cut into pieces and reassembled 65 meters above its original footprint, while the actual temple itself was submerged beneath the waters. Philae, a sacred site known as the Pearl of Egypt dating back to 300 BCE, was submerged, as were several other ancient temples, villages, and cemeteries. Approximately 50,000 Nubians were displaced when their homes were buried beneath the water. In China, the Three Gorges Dam and the Canada Lake Dam have submerged over 1,300 sites, including a 1,400-year-old city from the Han Dynasty. Well-preserved temples, roads, and houses were buried beneath 40 meters of water. In India, the Panchet Dam submerged the village of Telkupi, and its surrounding area included a number of temples. The temples were a part of a group of ancient structures that had been located in the village for centuries, with some dating back to the 1st century AD. The Belo Monte Dam in Brazil submerged several ancient and unexcavated archaeological sites. The Mosul Dam in Iraq submerged ancient Sumerian and Babylonian ruins, and the Mornos Dam in Greece submerged the ancient city of Callio, with the temples and fortifications from the classic Greek period. These submerged sites are controlled not just by local governments, but by the United States of America and United Nations. An archaeologist from Boston University, Ricardo J. Alia, explained how UNESCO and the United States have kept archaeologists from exploring these submerged sites by conjuring the law at sea, underwater cultural heritage, and exclusive economic zones. Laws have been created that allow for the savage and theft of these sites, but restrict the actual archaeological access. Tell me that's not shady in itself. It's a simple fact now, friends, that pyramids reside all over the earth, buried deep within the Arctic ice, and even some of it poking out of the melted Arctic ice, which we've seen. I've even probably showed you that over the past few years. Pictures of those pyramids poking out that are exactly aligned like the Giza pyramids in Egypt. And even right here in Sedona, Arizona, friends, I discovered 2 areas that I swear I have no doubt, definitely one of them, no doubt, is some sort of ancient pyramid, which of course has centuries of growth on top of it. So, you can't necessarily tell. I could tell by the energy that was coming off of it. And then when you get to the top of the outlook and you look down, you can't miss it. And then I did shamanic journey with some of my tribe at the base, and we went right inside in our shamanic journey and know that there's something there for sure. And it seems to be quite obvious, in my opinion, that the global elite want nothing more than to destroy our ability to discover our true ancient secrets in history. We saw the United States, created the group ISIS, who swept across Iraq, destroying ancient Sumerian structures and statues. The first place that the United States troops hit when they went into Baghdad were actually the museums. A lot of folks don't remember that, but according to the whistleblowers who were on the front lines, it came out and told us that's the first orders they had. And then the Iraqis did everything they could to fight and protect the museums. Interesting enough. And according, again, to the whistleblower, we see Egypt's head of antiquities, whatever that guy's name is, constantly covering up history, while constantly rejecting others from being able to explore different parts of ancient Egypt and Egypt. Sad but true. The Egyptian government's always been trying to keep people from getting in there and looking at what's really there. And I'm sure there's something higher up, the globalists, that are, pulling the strings. And just wait until the truth begins to strongly become presented around what lies beneath our feet. Beneath our feet, besides the government elites, underground cities, besides that, we know about that. I did a video, billionaire bunkers and safe zones. If you want to know what the future Earth looks like, check out that video. So we know about the underground elite cities, and we know about the horrors that are committed beneath the earth in tunnels and caverns, but also the entities that actually live within the earth too. And then, of course, the deep hollow earth itself. All in which they wish to cover up, but soon we will discover. It's all going to be brought into the light over likely less than a decade. Now, check out this strange footage here. This strange footage comes from the skies, and it's just straight up wild and strange in my opinion. Listen to the gentleman explain. And we all, we know that this isn't an AI creation because he shows you himself in the video. I mean, I'm sure you could create that too, but I feel like this is completely legit. This also aligns with Spirit telling us that the skies were going to get stranger and stranger, and this sure is strange. Check it out.
Oh, can somebody tell me what the is this? And I'm not using no app. I am on County Road 2 in between State Avenue and K32. And I have never seen anything like that in my life. And it appears that little black stuff is falling down the center of it. That is just weird. And then just to let you all know, I'm not kidding here. This is real. Sorry, that's my phone doing that because it's a piece of crap Motorola. But just so you can see, it's me. And I'm live. And I started to
Pretty wild, friends. Pretty wild. The other wild thing that recently occurred is the colored blue rain. Blue rain, friends, that fell from the skies of both California and Texas. And if you reside anywhere in the world, friends, wherever you reside in the world, if you're experiencing blue rain, we want to know about it. And if you're in Texas and California and you experience this blue rain, we want to know about it. Do let us know in the comments below. You can look up the video footage yourself. I tried to find pieces, but they were all mostly like TikTok videos and such, and I couldn't find good footage to show you. But go on and you can Google the blue rain in Texas, blue rain in California, and watch some of the videos on your own. One guy in one of the videos who was out on a boat claimed that he drank the blue water, which would be extremely less than smart thing to do. Really extremely less than smart thing, but he claims he drank it. Now, this is a claim, I don't know if I quite believe it, but then he also claimed he hallucinated for about 8 hours later, seeing strange creatures jumping off boats and freaking him out, to the point that he had to crawl under his bed and hide. That's what he claimed. Perhaps this could be linked to weather manipulation, maybe? Many assume. Now, if they use silver iodine to seed cloud, that could potentially, turn the water a blue tint. Just a thought. And again, I want to know what you think in the comments down below. Blue rain, manipulation, weird things, strange things, and it's only going to get stranger. A few other predictions to add into here, and keep in mind I do have a full, almost an hour-long channeled prediction video that will premiere later this week. I'm going to show you a clip of that in a minute after I read these 3 other additional predictions here for you. First, I see several incidents taking place at water parks. I see one water park being closed down temporarily from some type of a bacteria concern and breakouts that cause rashes all over park goers. I see another type of incident taking place and occurring at a water park that I feel is a Disney water park. I also feel that this results in some type of fatality. I see major wildfires taking place in Mexico, one not far from Mexico City, and another one in the southern parts of Mexico along some type of borderline. I don't know what that means. Also, I see fires sweeping across parts of the Middle East, including outside of Istanbul, Turkey. So it's going to be a wildfire season for sure this year. I see a significant sized earthquake that is going to strike in and near Yellowstone National Park, causing many concerns, of course, and lots of activity in and around Yellowstone is going to end up causing parts of the park to be closed in the coming months. And, it's going to have many tourists being turned away, and even some closures, complete closures, temporary, but still complete areas being closed off. Eventually, the concerns will die off. So when you hear all this activity flaring up at Yellowstone, don't be overly concerned. The supervolcano is not going to blow, but things are going to happen. It's going to cause park closures, concerns, and so forth. Before I show you a short clip of the coming channeled predictions, first, there's a few questions from the comments. And if you have a question, always leave the letter Q with some quotations with your question in the comments below, and I'll try to get to it, no guarantees. And I forgot about these, so sorry for the delay. Starting with Rosie, who says the EU Commission unveils a plan to channel 10 trillion of citizens' savings into strategic investments, specifically military. Will it succeed? I am not getting that it will. They're going to push it and push it and push it, and maybe some citizens will opt in, but most will opt out. Now, coming from Yvonne? No, I don't know, but in my surrounding, in the south of the Netherlands, people are constantly sick. Have you a tip so that we can heal better? Well, first and foremost, this goes back to what I said earlier in today's broadcast. We are becoming more aware of the foods that we're eating, where we're getting our foods from. And that's it. That's part of it right there. Not to mention all the other things that we're exposed to, the chemicals, the things, and I don't know if you got the things in the skies like we do here, and in many other countries, because the UK is about to get blasted. They want to block your sun out. So that's part of what's making people sick. But also I feel like there's something with your area where you're seeing everybody sick. They're not getting the right amount of nutrients in their body, which is deteriorating their immune systems. So you need to make sure you're getting the right amount of things in your body, the right amount of iodine, magnesium, and so forth. And also checking where you're getting your foods from. And I know the Netherlands, they kind of destroyed the farming there, but try to get from local farms if you can. Another question from Candace. Danielle Smith is a premier of Alberta, which has major oil in Fort McMurray. Rumor has it that she will join forces with Trump and break free from Canada and East Canada and have been stiffing Alberta's resources. Will Alberta break free and join the United States? They will not. They may make some agreements with the United States, but as far as, especially with Carney in there, nothing's leaving Canada right now. Not yet. Now, I did have visions going back years ago of things coming together as a big union, and I saw North America broken up into like 5 to 7 different unions. So when that occurs, but I don't feel like that's in the near future. And I feel like as long as you got Carney in place, who's a big, of course, Weffer, big part of the WEF. So it wouldn't surprise me, but he's not going to let that happen. Not going to let that happen. But there will be agreements that will happen. What does Spirit say about the flashing lights and what seems to be happening all around the world? Mr. MB333 has multiple videos about this. Yes, we just spoke about it. Is it the grid getting ready to go down? No. There will be major blackouts and outages, though, of course, as per my predictions. And it's a multiple things that are happening. A lot of it has to do with the Earth and the magnetic and the electric magnetic field that's being put off from the sun flares. So a lot's going on with that. And then some of it's manipulation or cyber attacks in the coming power outages. But with the blinking lights and all, that's the Earth. That's the energy of the Earth. And I wouldn't doubt that someone like DARPA is manipulating things with the Earth as well that is causing this flickering. But the flickering itself is definitely coming from the magnetic energy of the Earth. Fascinating, actually. Really fascinating. Now, Marie's asking, will the landscape of Northern Europe, is it going to change? Yes. The landscape of the entire planet is going to change. And again, if you want to know more about that, watch my video, Billionaire Bunkers in Safe Zones, and it'll show you what the future Earth is going to look like. Everything's going to shift and change. All landscapes are going to shift and change. So, hi, Joseph. My question is a little different and off topic. Can a dark spirit entity be attached to you since childhood and possibly influence you through your life? Sure, why not? Dark entities wouldn't surprise me in any of the power they have. And they linger in people's homes, and it's more common than you would imagine, friends. More common than you imagine. A lot of times people talk about schizophrenics, being... Sometimes I wonder if schizophrenics are just extremely sensitive to the spirit realms. Just like the autistic kids who are extremely telepathic and such. So yeah, of course there could be. And you need to find somebody that does good shamanic energy clearings or entity attachments and people that deal with that specifically to work through that. But yeah, sure, why not? Any age wouldn't matter. I think that leaves me with my questions for today. Yeah, I don't see any other questions here. So let me show you a little clip of the channel predictions. It's coming up, premiering this Thursday. Give a listen. I'm along the coastline and I feel this shaking beneath my feet, and in the distance see a very large wave begin to form. At the point of where I'm standing and where I see this wave, I feel like I'm in a wooded area. I see talks of some type of a new vehicle that comes into the light. A new vehicle that has been, of course, suppressed by patent suppression and government suppression for quite some time. But this new vehicle is going to be brought out with the patent being revealed. I see some kind of conflict between two ships happening off the coast of the Philippines. I feel a lot of aggressive energy coming off the coast of the Philippines. I see this large, that I can only explain to be a large explosion that happens beneath the water. These truths being unleashed start within the Vatican itself. The new Pope is going to usher in this new age of truth. Not necessarily willingly either. Well, beautiful tribe, I very much hope you enjoyed this edition of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time. And if you did, please be sure to hit that thumbs up love button so we can get our tribe to grow, get more people, and so this content shows up on other people's pages as well. And thank you to all the supporters who make this free content possible for everybody else. I couldn't do it without you. And I thank you with infinite love and gratitude. Remember to visit my website at josephtittel.com, spiritmanjt.com. And remember, I will never message you on social media platforms. If you get a message that appears to be me, it's not me. Report those profiles immediately, friends. And until the next time, friends, remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Let your light shine ever so brightly, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste and much love, friends. Much love.